live. Hi all people joining. We have Aldamzhar Kiyev, AI engineer at Fortebank. He had quite big experience in launching AI tools for production, automating all this preparation of this production grade systems, and doing NLP for low resource languages. Low resource is which you have little, like relatively little in internet, like Tajik-Arabic. Thank you for joining, dear Aldamzhar. Could you tell overview what you've done so far, because it's quite rare skill set for our region and globally.
Yeah, thank you, Oscar. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this session and to Ask Me Anything session, right? It was quite an honor to be at the same room with you. And for the second, my name is Aldamzhar, and I am an AI engineer at the Fortebank, and I have an experience in machine learning engineering. I was an intern at the Zippel AI, which is the Dubai tech startup that was born at Stanford but based in Tajikistan, Dubai, and many other headquarters probably. And right now it has a valuation of approximately $40 to $50 million. And also I work at the Fortebank right now, and I got to tell you, this is quite an experience for me. And it all started back in like 2023 when I was working on my master thesis during my second year with the professors at the Nazarbayev University for my program, Master of Data Science. And it all started with the interest in large language models, right? It was like with the appearance of GPT, with the appearance of Gemini and its APIs, you just have to experience all of this. You just have to experiment with all of them. And from that point forward, I just started experimenting. We started summarizing, simplifying the content for the patients. And that is practically what we did. During our master thesis, we did a master thesis on simplifying content, the medical content, and the medical information about drugs and such for the patients themselves. And after that, like in April, I applied for the Fortebank, and then like in August of 2024, I started my path. And overall, like ever since, I have been working on classification, segmentation, many other stuff that was contemplated and congregated in the usual classic machine learning experience, right? But also after like January, back from the January 2025, we started working on full time, like on AI bots, chatbots, agents, you name it, for the Fortibank. Yeah.
That's amazing. We have already people actually joining. Guys, you can type your questions in the chat or later.
Mhm.
I was browsing your LinkedIn profile. I actually
Yeah.
don't understand what is modular ML pipelines and
Mhm.
SFA ML flow auto FE. Could you
Mhm.
tell more about what this is?
Yeah, with the regards of like auto FE, right? And this is the concept that many people many people that are into ML flow and machine learning themselves will understand. But auto FE it is basically auto feature engineering. So basically, when you have something in your data set, like for example, you are collecting the data set like age, maybe some value, inflation rate, and something like that, and you want to create a data set that will basically help you to understand what the behavior patterns of the person that is like applying for the credit loan, right? Or for something that will be financially and overall economically affect the enterprise itself and the person's position towards this enterprise. And basically, what Auto FE does is that it will let, in the simple words, right? Because we're explaining this to the audience that may or may not have technical background. So basically, Auto FE is automatic generation of features based on the features that we already have. Maybe some mixture of it, or maybe some sort of the mixture that will contemplate into not 50-50, but rather 20-80, 30-70. So maybe age will have like factor of 10. factor of 1, 0.1, and the inflation rate will have 0.9. Basically, this is all dependent on the type of task we're achieving, like the type of goal we're achieving, and basically about SFA, right? So basically, what does the SFA mean? SFA is a statistical feature analysis, right? So in the simple words, you pick the best features and toss out the junk, right? So we have like some old milk in our fridge and we toss it out because it's a bad feature. There are many like similar things and we have to keep only one. This is the second example. And the third is like maybe feature that changes too much, that is not holding some pattern. So that's why it will be out too.
What does it mean, bad feature? As I understand, feature there is a
Hmm.
thing which you want a model to predict, and usually you have business requirements from some business
Hmm.
department. And
Hmm.
by bad feature, what do you mean? The one which has like technically impossible to create, or business don't want it?
That is an awesome question indeed. Yeah, yeah, but basically, what the bad feature is the feature that some implicitly it will give you understanding that it's not actually very useful in this data set in this very task. Basically, the bad feature one data set can be a good feature in another, but the definition of the bad feature itself is like feature that is not creating a value in the parametric equation. So basically, what we have basically mathematically machine learning is like a congregation, the process of the learning, right? It's the congregation of everything into polynomial equation, and the bad feature is the one that doesn't factor the most and factors the least, actually, which is the same thing, but it factors the least into overall equation of the pattern that we're trying to achieve. So basically, in this task of some prediction, if some feature is not overall affecting it, has like 5 or 6% influence on this very equation, this very pattern, then this is considered the bad feature, and that's why we do this kind of SFA analysis.
Oh, great. Actually, I have 1,000 of questions. So, guys, if you have your questions, you can type, but it doesn't mean I will ask them because limited time of Aldamzhar and lots of questions. Given,
Yeah.
so you work for this
Mhm.
Zippo. I know this
Mhm.
guy, the Silkway alumnus. They are actually the
Yeah,
some
yeah.
Harvard guy, yeah, a rich guy. You work from
Mhm.
Astana. They hired you. It
Mhm.
means scarcity, not enough people in Tajikistan, for example. They hire you. And
Uh,
how you overall, and for example, this thing you describe SFA, I thought it's for like ML ops people, for DevOps to maintain, but it appears it's for ML engineers. And
mhm.
with
Mhm.
this, and even demand is growing for all LMOps, MLOps engineers. Yesterday, I talked with
Mhm.
some big like businessman. He
Mhm.
wanted to launch some AI system, and he didn't
Mhm.
ask one question. I was so happy because if he asked, I don't know how to answer. So
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
we work, for example, bank or telecom operator, to launch
Mhm.
one working model, production grade
Mhm.
model. And if they have
Mhm.
zero engineers, so they will need to hire. How many
Mhm.
people they need? I asked this ChatGPT. ChatGPT said you need two ML engineers, one senior, one junior, and one MLOps senior. So now, what
Mhm.
is your opinion? Is it okay? Three
My
people to start?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is actually very, very close to what ChatGPT responded, because basically for this you just need to have one experienced guy, right? That will draw overall architecture of what the system will be, basically. So it's the job of the senior or maybe middle plus ML engineer, and for the other stuff, for the second one is the junior that will execute all of the vision that the senior will have. So basically, you need two. But in our experience, for example, at the Forte Bank, we have many, many ML engineers, maybe NLP. We work with the speech recognition and all of that and all stuff. But basically, what we guys have, for example, at our bank, we have many versatile people. So basically, one person can hold two or three projects simultaneously. but we divide the priorities right. And for that, we consult with architects that we have at our disposal and that are greatly helping us to devise this ML system and to deploy actually to the production.
You work in a place where I assume a large legacy proportion of legacy system. And what is
Mhm.
the job of architecture in architect in this environment? Because you already constrained. You cannot go, for
Mhm.
example, AWS and do everything on
Exactly.
cloud. You just select
Exactly.
existing like tools. So basically, what tools you use to build this ML stuff inside bank, because you cannot do it like on Google Cloud, for example. Maybe
Yeah,
high level
exactly.
what you can share. I know it's confidential. Still, it's just for people.
Of
They will watch. Some
uh
people watch after 1 year. So and then they will Google
mhm.
it and they will start learning it, and maybe they get the job. It was the
Of
case.
course,
So for them,
of course. Yeah, of course, I'm glad to help that, and I will be glad to be of help for that. And my answer is basically, so what ML tools maybe that I will like explain in the bank environment where everything is constrained, as you just mentioned, is very much correct. We use such things as DMZ, right? So demilitarized zones that basically may provide the opportunity to use external APIs or maybe some cloud APIs, but under so much protection and so much security that basically any traffic that will go outside or maybe that will flow, it will basically be protected because what we at the bank we like work with lots of client data, right? And for actually divesting that and actually working with it very properly, we need some things such as DMZ. So DMZ is one of the tools that will like we are provided with to actually add some layer of security, so to say, and the privacy. And as for the second one, I believe that many documentation and Hugging Face open source models and data sets that are already there. Maybe those would be of help for like starting ML engineers, because basically what you need to start with um, is the understanding of the NLP, natural language processing, right? Which is the congregation of all large language models working with the NLU, natural language understanding, right? And for that, I propose learning from the Hugging Face Academy because this is the golden mine that everyone should follow, I guess.
uh, I tried to start learn NLP 4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Coursera, Andrew NG, about
Oh, yeah, yeah,
TensorFlow,
yeah.
convolution
Exactly.
methods. But I think it's now so basic, but even today it's so difficult. Uh,
Mm,
and so, given you mentioned Hugging Face, I googled yesterday. Hugging Face has 60 like a lot of models from Kazakh
mhm.
language. Kind of one guy
Yeah,
trained
yeah,
from Aktubek, a guy from Aktubek, he trained Kazbert. He put
yeah. Hmm.
10,000 words. I think it's, I don't know, it's big or probably small,
Hmm.
10,000 words. He published it and
Hmm.
he is 15 years old. I think
Wow.
for it's really good. A lot of like this, but still less than
Mm,
100 people. There is a group, I found group is called in Hugging Face, Horde,
mm.
and I
Oh.
watched the profiles of these founders, two guys, both work at some universities somewhere in Europe. So for them, it's like a
Mhm.
hobby. So I think, how you feel? Community big or small? What are the
Mm,
communities if somebody wants to find like apart from we have this DS/ML chat.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
Apart from it, like I don't know, maybe in Astana, how you assess how big community and what are the communities, maybe online communities to join.
Yeah, exactly. So, with regards to that, that is a very interesting question and very like popular because this is the problem, right? So, in order to understand, because DSML, I believe this is the group that actually contains a lot of talented ML experts, right? And they have the data backbot, right? That like enters upon entering some data. But overall,
Yeah.
I see that there's a problem of getting that barrier, right? So there's a barrier between those that are very proficient at the machine learning and those that are just eager to start but don't know where. So for that, I believe that we should and we must create communities local. So I guess we can start by like finding that wonderful guy that is 15 years old, right? And he created some version of KAZ-BERT, right? What I did mention like KAZ-LLM, but first steps would be like for finding the communities by joining ours. And by ours, I mean my alma mater, which is the Nazarbayev University, and we have a lot of things that are happening there. And I believe that by joining some organizations like SI for junior data scientist roles, or maybe join us at the Fortebank, because we provide many opportunities for guys to learn, because we have a lot of enterprise projects for sure.
Oh, does Fortebank has vacancies? I will just browse it later if you have openings. So we have question from Muhammad.
Hmm.
What do you think about prospects of applying diffusion models to large language models? And next from him, do you think diffusion
Hmm.
models could be on par with transformers in the future? If yes,
Hmm.
explain why. If not, explain. This is a ChatGPT question. Yeah, this could be ChatGPT. I also
I used
learned
to
a
learn
lot. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that is a very like expanded question, and I'll gladly answer that. So basically, diffusion models, right? So diffusion models are those that, if I understand correctly, I understand the question overall. Mohammed mentions about maybe the usage of such models for like generating images, right? Am I correct? And if it's like those, then I believe yes, diffusion models will be on par with the transformers, because basically what transformers do, like they are the combination of the encoder and the decoder architecture that was basically like 4 or 5 years in the making. Remember that famous research paper that all started this, the attention is all you need.
Attention.
So
Yeah.
basically, yeah, exactly. So the transformer started from all of that. And diffusion models, they basically were the derivative of the architecture of the transformers, and the word like a derivative of the architecture of the convolutional neural networks that were the start of the generation of the images and videos. Now we know that Higgsfield, right, the greatest
Yeah.
startup, I think, from the Kazakhstan, has the like a lot of things, a lot of cool stuff that they do, and they can compete with the OpenAI Sora for sure, and VO2, VO3. And in that matter, I believe that diffusion models will be always on par and always will be like in the future in the making. And for that, I believe that the answer to the question is yes, they will be, as for the reason I already explained. And for LLM and NLP, I believe yes. So Mohammed, good luck, because LLM and NLP are the hottest topics for sure for the next 3 or 4 years.
Um, guys, more questions you can just type, or even you watch recording, you can ask in the comments to YouTube video, and I will send it to Aldamzhar. Maybe he answer. The Tajik-Arabic languages. I know how for BERT students learn BERT. They upload like some
Hmm.
reviews, Apple Store reviews, and like load this,
Hmm.
make them to tokens, convert to tokens, and load them to BERT, and
Hmm.
kind of that's it. And then they do this some optimizer program
Yeah,
function
yeah,
to
yeah.
kind of train it. And did you
Exactly.
do the same for Tajik Arabic language? By the way, I think Arabic
Hmm.
is not low because they have in UAE like big AI model Falcon, some more. So
Exactly,
how did
exactly.
you
So
fine tune
yeah,
it? Or
yeah,
what did
yeah.
you fine tune, or what did you do basically?
Yeah. So basically, for the generation like of, or for the collecting, I mentioned the collection of the Tajik and Arabic, like Arabic language datasets. And for that, actually, we used, and for the training and for low resource, right, for the embeddings, we actually used two things: XLMR, like KAZ-LLM-R, and the mbird, which is like two. Imagine like these are two super smart assistants, like who speak many languages. Like they have a data set of overall like 80 to 100 languages in the making, like in this inside the very model, and they understand the questions in one language, but they can answer in another. So basically, what we did is that these models, we use them as a foundation because we fed the text in some Kazakh or English or some language that is already high resourced, and we basically mapped them into translating into Tajik and Arabic. So basically, it's the synthesis, right? And for that purpose, yes, we also applied some OpenAI API, right? So for the translation API, we actually integrated some APIs in order to test which ones would perform better. Now, for the questions, I always anticipate the things that, oh, why the OpenAI API will always be better? Well, yes, but in that sense, in like working with really seldom languages, with the languages that have a little applicability but is already growing, like low resource training, these models would be very much useful. And on the Hugging Face, they're available, and for that, I believe they will have a great future. So basically, what they are doing for the mechanism, like one sentence, they you feed the languages, the seldom languages, Arabic, Tajik, Kazakh, and it turns it into vectors that hold meaning. So basically, that is the whole the whole work of these models.
It's quite high level of abstraction. And
Mhm.
about this, what works, what's not, I kind of feeling bad about this question, but I must ask because we had Madina from ISAI twice on this channel, and we talk about KAZ-LLM and others. And a few months ago, I know I met guys, they bought a RoboDoc, some unique Chinese dog, trains them to understand Kazakh language. And I asked them, oh, you use KAZ-LLM? They said KAZ-LLM don't respond to queries they send, and it doesn't reply, so they just use some American open model and they train some American model. So did you use KAZ-LLM? What do you think as a developer? Or did you have experience with it?
So for the KAZ-LLM, I believe I didn't have much experience with that, but I believe I had an experience with the Irbis model that is that already like consisted of many sentences, many like tokens in Kazakh, and I believe that it performed beautifully. I remember that for the inference stuff, so basically working and training and fine tuning for the Irbis with the Kazakh, it worked very good, but again, very good in the context of the Kazakh language, right? Because for the understanding of like other languages that will be mapped into it, like English to Romanian or English to like Hungarian or something like that, I believe this might be a problem. So in this kind of architecture, in this kind of mechanism, I believe what KAZ-LLM and Irbis or any Kazakh large language models will provide and are lacking right now, but will perform better, is the thing that the generation of the synthetic Kazakh language, right? So with the usage of real tokens, I believe this might be a solution in order to create a larger corpus, right, of the text in Kazakh to like amplify it to the level of Russian language, and then they might perform very well, and then probably the robots will answer every question in Russian, Kazakh, or English.
So you mentioned before asking Alter X question, hi Alter, you mentioned performance of the systems. We all know even traditional like computer vision, non AI computer vision or like old school machine learning, they are not stable. If there is some new kind of, I had experience for warehouse, we automate warehouse dimensioning. We put like a box, it measured perfect, and then we put some different, it crash. So
Yeah.
in your day-to-day work in production, what percentage of time you guys, maybe your team, devote to maintaining like existing running models? like 10%, 20, 30, or like 90?
Yeah, that is a good question, and I believe it is close to 100 because the maintenance of the models that are already in production should be always under some supervision because there is no perfect scenario, right? There is no perfect workings of any model in the world, even ChatGPT APIs or Gemini APIs that are looking like consistent models that will always answer your query. No, they're not, because recently, like for in my own making of my own pet projects, some side project on the uh, for my own hobby, I discovered that the embeddings API, right? Embeddings is like division into of the tokens of the words into vectors. The API for that didn't work for OpenAI, the corporation with $300 billion valuation, right? And for that purpose, as an answer to this question, I believe that the main thing is to maintain the production models every time. You should supervise. You have to set the logging every move, every aspect, so that in the logs you will see the mistakes and then you will fix them.
But I know even how Gemini, like from production, like fail. It still keeps failing, OpenAI, everything. But how you monitor actually in reality? How you so there's logs. If 10,000 bank customers they start using it, and you have like I don't know 10,000 logs. How do you in
Exactly.
practice? What tools you use? How you monitor? You have some alerts like detected some miss like how you do it? Like how do you monitor the performance in production?
Yeah, so for that, I believe this is actually the combination, right, of the this is the actually yeah the combination of the human approach and automated approach. So that for the automated approach, there's a script, right? There's a script that will like check the logs and like get the errors from these logs, and for that it will like use the auto detection, like which was the error type, which was the info type, and which was the like 200 okay type, right? So whether model performed beautifully or not. And for the human approach, I believe you have to have in your team, right? You have to have human operators, human like clients, maybe, or some assistants, maybe that will help you identify the workings of the model in the interface. So for that, maybe they'll create some report, and then you'll cross-reference it with the logs, and that approach will like in combination work very good. It will be much better than like seeing the logs or just going to the UI.
So I see. So it's actually then, if it is like this, if
Mhm,
uh, any like bank chatbot
mhm,
is failed, you
mhm.
cannot see it like immediately. You see it best case after like 2 hours when you have this report that is failing or
Uh-huh. This is a very good question, but the answer to that is no, not 2 hours. We do not allow ourselves to like miss this kind of deadline because this kind of time frame is very big for us. Because in that span of time, there may be like 10 or 15 clients that may approach our like bank and for the services, right? And for that, we
uh,
set, for example, in my experience, I set the auto update of a database, and for that auto update of the database, the script will also send any kind of a notification to to the device or to the script in the logs. So it will like trigger some alarm in order to set for us that, oh, okay, this is the place where you failed. And for the future, I believe of our bank, and probably I hope this also be supported by by my supervisors, but I hope to set up some Sentry or Sentry like monitoring systems in order to just cross-reference it, to like divide it and make it not in the logs but already in the UI. And we plan to also expand to the announcements parts where there will be like regular updates that will be filled by the humans, and it will trigger some alarms and the notifications. And the second is technical errors that will also be like put in the system and will always notify us as developers in the process.
oh, that's amazing. So I just Google Sentry. Actually, Sentry is like traditional DevOps tool. I think they keep upgrading it.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Also, I googled while we were answering question. I googled for the bank careers. You have a lot of
Mhm.
openings, like even product owner, front end engineer,
Yes.
back end engineer. So it's quite cool.
Yeah.
Three questions. Two from Altair. I see many
Mhm.
businesses in Kazakhstan don't integrate AI products compared to US, EU. How do you view demand for AI assistants, AI agents in Kazakhstan? Is it a good
Mhm.
idea to develop such products for the local market or target global market if I'm
Mhm.
developing AI assistance agents? Yes, thank you, Altair.
Okay. Thank you, Altair. That are very good two questions, and I will be answering the first because this is the very good question, and yeah, so many businesses in Kazakhstan weren't integrating AI powered products or services. So the choice of like verb here and the tense is very important because they were very skeptic about that. But recently, my trip to the US. And I was at the Stanford for the program Leadership in AI and the Creative Economy, where like Silk Road Innovation Hub and the Stanford University in combination hosted like a series of workshops, lectures, and visits to the big tech companies. And I was seeing a good trend. What exact trend? I saw that many business owners that were in the delegation that I was also in, the Central Asia Business Delegation, were mesmerized by the quality of the AI that is already in the making in the US and is in the development in the Kazakhstan. So the trend is actually they want to integrate AI powered products, and I see that the demand for AI assistant and agents in Kazakhstan will rise dramatically. And for the second part, I believe that it's a good idea to develop such products for the local market because when you develop such things that disrupt even the tiniest audience like 10 or 15 people, it will always reflect your ability to like help them. And if you have 10 to 15 or like even 5 customers that really love your AI agent and really would love to integrate it into their businesses, you will be on demand too. So I believe that development of AI assistant and agents is on the rise.
Yeah, it's a great answer. Zamira Khan Rustamova, what advice would you give to someone who wants to create their first AI bot? Maybe even move it to production like you did.
Oh,
For you now,
that is a
example.
yeah, that is a very thoughtful question. And thank you, Zamir Khan, for your question. And my answer to that is the advice is to actually do. Maybe this is the thing that will like disrupt many minds right now of the people that like developing some agents or learning theory. But I gotta say, the very first thing that you have to do is to create something even if you don't know everything. Even if you don't know 50, 40, 30, or 20% of it, 10% is fine. So my advice is to go a little bit further in the practice of a theory that you just consumed. So imagine there is a like there's a batch of the information that you like saw. You saw 2 articles or you saw 3 videos that will be helpful in developing your AI bot. There are 3 concepts. You do your first AI bot experience on that 3 videos. And after you encounter your first mistake, which is the mistake in practice and experience, you will go back to the theory. And that is why I believe that this is the rate of process from inhaling a little bit of theory and then implementation of into practice and going back to the cycle, which can be infinite and will be infinite. This is the one that will help you develop yourself first and develop the products that will be like useful to the whole market.
Uh, Also, just to add, for example, you could just, Mirakhon, use Google's ready simplest bot, travel bot booking from the
Yeah.
method.
Mhm.
You could just
Mhm.
copy it. Even like I understood it 5 minutes. It's like literally 3 lines of code. And
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
uh, last question, because we booked Aldamzhar for 20 minutes. It's already like a lot. Very intensive question today. I think.
Hmm.
Would you recommend, Kairan, said Kairan, would you recommend doing master's degree or work first? Yeah.
Oh, that well, that is my type of question, because I did the master degree right after the undergrad. So my experience was like I graduated computer science degree in 2022 from Nazarbayev University, and like in that year, during that year, I applied for the masters in the February or January of 2022, and then after that, it was like I was accepted in June, and I started right away the master's degree in the August of 2022. So I believe that you can do both because I did actually both things at the same time. It was very complex, it was very sophisticated, it was very challenging, but I believe that you can do both and you have to do both mainly because you need to understand what it's like to get the theory that you are getting that you're knowledgeable about from the master's degree from the its lectures, because this is just only the theory that you have to apply in the practice, maybe on the internship or maybe some part-time job. But you have to, I believe that this must be the rule for every university student, especially the master's one, that you have to have the work experience during the master's degree. Because right now I believe that in my experience at the Forte Bank, this clearly shows that you have to be multitasking, that you have to be at all times versatile, and you have to be aware of many things at once. So that is why, like, this would be a very good hardcore bootcamp, like getting master's degree and working in parallel. So that is why my advice would be like do both and try to excel at both at the same time. This is almost impossible, but you have to do it. And good luck.
Yes. Thank you, man. On behalf of all people who, and Zamirahon says, Rahmat from Tashkent. So international. Thanks, Zamirahon, for making this
Thank you.
international. Uh, and
That
actually, other questions we can, if there will be a lot, I'll invite you again. Or I will invite you after one
Of
week.
course, of course, of course,
Uh,
of course. I'll be
One
glad to.
question from me. Last time
Mm,
I asked this question from Bayan. He was
mhm,
working in a private company, and then after this stream question, he was promoted to chairman of National Information Technology. So I asked the
wow.
same question: what you recommend to learn? Maybe some certification, or maybe some what is it like? I mean, some actually like literally what to go and Google and read or study to get it,
Exactly.
like which will be after 5 years, maybe 3 5 years will
Hmm.
be still in demand. He recommended Damabok. I bought it. I
Hmm.
didn't like it. Really, just pure tutorial. So what is your take
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this?
My take on this is, I believe, instead of many maybe books, I would recommend the good old YouTube videos, like because I learned very much from the videos of MIT playlists. So there's a MIT open courseware that has the deep learning course. It's like a playlist of 20 to 30 videos that are containing the actual information. So they basically renew this playlist every year, and they have the great lecturers. And the MIT open courseware, the Stanford open courses that are available on their channel too. And as for the classics, I believe that the machine learning from Andrew Ng, actually the founder of Coursera, I actually recently met Greg Hart, the CEO of Coursera, and he already said that they actually have worked to increase the level of completion of all the courses on Coursera from 5% to like 15 or 17. That's why I would greatly recommend courses on Coursera and the machine learning by Andrew Ng. Machine learning specialization that will contain courses from the Stanford and Andrew Ng lectures too, and for the greatest workshops ever. And also, as for the books, I believe that you just need to keep up with the basic O'Reilly books. O'Reilly produces a lot of material that is greatly affecting the industry, like building great LLMs, building great products, machine learning pipelines, and everything. So if you walk to these concepts one by one, you'll just create a good pathway for yourself. My recommendation is what not to do. My final one is not to go through ready pathways, because those do not work usually on all, and that is why you need to build your own pathway, but by doing things one by one and doing it gradually.
What about programming languages? Before it was like Python, not serious, but like last 5 years,
Yeah.
everything must be by default Python. Is there something else
Uh-huh.
apart from Python you need like for production coding? It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
Python.
So for the programming languages, I believe that you need to learn PyTorch. The PyTorch is a very very good framework that is already superseding and exceeding by any kind of metric the TensorFlow. Unfortunately, the TensorFlow, the trend for this is like slowing down, and the PyTorch is already rising. And for the Python like libraries and the built-in functions, you need to learn like Matplotlib, SciPy, pandas, and every kind of like library that is usually responsible for every kind of manipulation, every kind of analysis, things that are applicable in business, but in this very very area, like for the analysis, for dashboards and everything. And for I could quickly will answer the question of the Kaizen, right? The deep learning specialization by Andrew N is also very good, because this is a very like a great tool, great course, great specialization to learn what was happening and what will be happening after you learn the machine learning specialization too.
Great. Thank you, man. Thank you, Aldamzhar. This was great fun. I learned a lot, and people also.
Mm.
And wish you a great week left and evening.
Mm.
Thank you. Let's keep in touch.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you for
Also.
inviting. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Mm.